Dear colleagues, now the floor is given to the Ministry of Defense spokesman on ATO-related issues, Colonel Andriy Lysenko. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Now the information about the events that happened in the ATO zone during the last 24 hours, and now about each sector. The Lugansk sector, the most intense military actions were in Krymsk and in Popasnyansky region. And the enemy 5 times used mortars and launched more than 30 mines. And also the occupants actively used small arms. Ukrainian forces returned fire. And also there were several enemy shellings in Stanitsa Lugansk region and Slaviano-Serbsk regions. As previously, in the majority of cases, the militants shell after in dark hours. And in Lugansk sector there were 14 enemy shellings, and the Donetsk sector the situation remains tense. And during 19 first hours of the last 24 hours, the enemy opened fire with the use of small arms and the weaponry of armored vehicles, and in the evening the occupants started to use mortars. They used heavy weapons in Svetlodarsk Bulge, near Gorlovka, in Avdiivka, and in Pisky. And the most powerful shelling was in Pisky. It lasted for 2 hours. The enemy launched 30 mines and also actively used armored vehicles and small arms. In Avdiivka, as previously, the occupants opened fire from several directions at once. First was Spartak south and Yakovlevka southeast. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Donetsk sector, there were 15 enemy shellings, including 7 with the use of heavy weapons. The Mariupol sector, the situation deteriorated in Mariinka region. Yesterday, the occupants repeatedly used armored vehicles, mortars in this part of front line, and some shells hit residential areas. In Krasnogorievka, windows of the local hospital were damaged, and also non-residential private house was damaged, and 1 woman was wounded. In Varnavarsky region of Troitsk and Grigorivka, Bogdanivka, during the day, there were several enemy provocations with the use of small arms. And in the south, the situation remains tense. Both during the day and at night, the militants actively violate ceasefire, and the majority of cases using small arms. Between 4 and 8 p.m. in Pavlopil and Vodyane, there were mortar shellings, and in Gnutova there was artillery shelling. On the whole, during the last 24 hours in the Mariupol sector, there were 34 enemy shellings, including 7 with the use of heavy weapons. During the last 24 hours, as a result of the military actions, fortunately no Ukrainian serviceman was killed, but 5 servicemen were wounded. And in Donetsk, the court released from criminal responsibility 1 more participant of SBU program that is called They Wait For You Back Home. The resident of Slavyansk was among the militants from May till June 2014, and he patrolled the streets of the occupied town, and then he fled to Russia and was hiding from justice. At the end of February 2017, this man voluntarily returned to Ukraine and addressed SBU because he didn't commit any heavy crimes. SBU and police continued to confiscate weapons and ammunition. In Mariupol, SBU found a cache with 3 kilograms of plastide and 2 canisters. Also, law enforcement found 2 kilograms of TNT blocks, more than 30 detonators of different modifications, 8 rocket shells with detonators, and 2 RGD-5 grenades with fuses. Also, SB officers together with police confiscated AK-74 machine gun, cartridges of different caliber, 2 grenades of RGD-5, and this was confiscated from the resident of Kakhovska region, Khersonsk Oblast. This perpetrator got this weapon from the ATO zone from his acquaintances, and also he had 4 kilograms of substance that is suspected to be marijuana. In Ternopolshina, in the suburbs of Igrovica village, SB officers found a cache that was near the Otto Bridge, and they found Sudaev machine gun and 3 grenades IGD-5. These days, the artillery detachments that were withdrawn from the line of contact, according to the Minsk agreements, took part in training. The training they had, they went to the region of placement of imaginary enemy, and they had the first artillery reconnaissance activity and then some firing exercises. And in one of the detachments of the National Guard, they had grenade launching exercises. First, they had the theoretical classes, and the guardsmen studied technical characteristics of the RGD-5 handheld grenade, and also in Alexandrovsky aerodrome in Kirovograd Oblast, crews of unmanned aerial vehicles had some training. They used radio technical means for piloting these aircraft. They showed good coordination and orientation in new difficult conditions. If you have questions, please ask. No questions. Thank you.